こんにちは、皆様、カイ先輩なんですけれども、これから英語を喋れるようになりたいんですか？ Well, listen up. I'm going to give you the best lesson that I can possibly give you. So thank you for coming. This is live. I am talking to you with a cup of coffee, and I don't have anything scripted other than I wanted to ask you one question. And that question is, who's your favorite English YouTuber? I've been wondering about this for quite some time. I want to know, who's your favorite foreign English YouTuber? Because you know, I kind of want to teach you English. I kind of want to teach you how to become bilingual, as I've become bilingual myself. 違うか。そうだね。ちゃんと英語を教えたいっていう気持ちがあるから、まあ、なんだろうね、どうやってするかなっていう教え方、まあ、いろいろあるって感じがするけど、いや、実は一つしかないんじゃないと、僕は思う。ね。So I want to make sure you guys understand what page you're on, basically, and what page you're on is basically this lesson right now because you're listening to what I'm saying, and hopefully you're going to learn something. But I kind of want to use this, how do you say, title as a reason to have this conversation, because this conversation is basically, how do we get your English to sound more, well, natural, more normal, right? How do we get you to have confidence, right? And so hopefully you have a teacher that teaches you English, right? Because if you don't have a teacher, how are you going to learn English, right? Well, that's the crazy thing. I kind of think that having a teacher is kind of like a how do you say it? Jama. A distraction from the truth. And the truth is that you got to go out and talk to people if you really want to speak English. And so having a teacher doesn't really matter because you have 999 other people that you talk to as well. And you kind of take all the stories and all the languages and all the accents and everything that you're hearing, and you kind of have to decide for yourself how you're going to learn a second language. But I digress because I don't want to confuse anybody here because, yes, this is an English lesson. Blah, blah, blah. This is an English lesson, and you're going to learn how to speak more like a native speaker if you listen to my advice. That's my promise. And so, also, I have a link that I want to share with everybody. This link is a link to basically talk to me. That's right. We can go live together. If you have any questions about how to learn English, そうだね。英語を教えるんじゃなくて、まあ、どうやってバイリングルになるかっていう、ちょっとニュアンスね。だってさ、英語を教えるっていうことはね、This is a cup みたいなね。で、そういうレッスンしたくないから、ね。どうやってバイリングルになるかっていう、まあ、テーマがよくあるよね、俺の頭の中で。だからまあ、これからね、もし、カイ先輩と喋りたかったらね、こちらの、なんだろうね、リンクがあるから、このリンクをクリックすると、俺とチャットできるらしいね。で、ちょっと待ってくださいって感じ。だって今、まあ、パソコンで、リンクをシェアするから、少々お待ちくださいね。So in the meantime, there's no way to communicate with you other than the live chat. So if you guys want to say hi, go ahead and say hi. I will say hi back. And there is the link. If you guys want to participate in this live stream, go ahead and click that link and we can talk here live. But again, the theme is, who is your favorite foreign YouTuber? Because I really have questions about how you guys are learning English because it seems like you're afraid of foreigners. And I kind of feel this, when I walk around Japan, there's a lot of people afraid of foreigners. I remember going into an okonomiyaki restaurant, and I swear to God, the old lady kind of like took a deep breath, like, また外人かって顔でしたよね。まあ、I can kind of speak Japanese, so you have nothing to fear, ma'am. But like I could just see the fear in her face because she saw my face. And it's like, okay, is it really that hard to speak English? I mean, come on, you've had a few years, 10 years, I think is enough time to learn how to speak a second language, right? I mean, だって俺10ヶ月だけで喋れるようになったから、そうですね、誰でもできるんじゃない第二言語に関して勉強方法が、まあ、変わらないんだよね。It's the same thing. So, I don't want to do too much code switching right now because I want to focus, right? And what I want to focus on is giving you guys pure English, all right? I've already kind of looked at all the other YouTubers, right? And I look at their lessons and I kind of think it's funny to say the least because a lot of the lessons aren't really going to be teaching you anything that you can't find anywhere else online. You know what I mean? Like, how do you pronounce this or how do you pronounce that? Like, there's probably 10, 20 different answers out there if you look for it. So I'm trying to be a little unique and original and trying to get your attention because how do you become bilingual is the real question, right? And then when you're watching your teacher, right, you got to be thinking first and foremost is my teacher even bilingual? Because if your teacher isn't bilingual, even your favorite YouTuber, I don't know, like there's so many out there. It's just kind of like all good teachers when they're teaching how to become bilingual should be bilingual themselves, right? 違うか. Yeah, I really want you to think about this, guys, because if your teacher is bilingual, then maybe they can teach you how to become bilingual. All right. But if your teacher is just like teaching English, like this is a pen, this is a lesson, it's just kind of like, okay, every single fucking teacher on the fucking planet can do that, right? But how many people can actually teach you to become bilingual? That's the question, right? And only people that have become bilingual can really talk about becoming bilingual, I think. So this is something that monolingual, monolingual, holy shit, monolingual people can't understand. Only bilingual people can. And if you're not bilingual, then basically it's like, okay, you don't understand how to become bilingual. That's fair enough. Like, nobody's judging or anything like that. It's just I'm just saying that basically you have to have bilingual people teaching monolingual people. That's just how it's done. So anyway, that's one of the first things that you got to kind of think about when you have your favorite Eikawa YouTuber, right? Or just your English teacher at school or whatever like that. Because like seriously, number one, if they don't even how do you say, know how to be bilingual, then they can't teach you how to be bilingual. 大丈夫ですかね今の英語のチャットして、ライブチャットね、今タップチャにしてたんだけどね。I think I see somebody with a comments, but it said Bailey, way, たくさんあると思います。Okay, so, just let me know one or two or something like that, and we can basically start from there. Because again, I'm kind of like thinking, well, who are you guys watching, right? Who's your teachers? I want to know. I am curious. I am trying to listen to you guys, and I want to know what you guys are thinking. It's not too difficult a question, right? So I hopefully somebody can answer. But basically, I know that if you guys hop on, that you're gonna feel a little embarrassed. I know it's just one of those things, but the best thing that I could possibly do is actually have a conversation with you. And having a conversation with you really means taking the time to come online and basically reach out, right? One of the problems that I have in doing this myself, right, is that I'm just a very selfish guy, if you know what I mean, because I could be making a video that gets 10,000 views right now. I don't want to be too, uh, what's the word? Wasting your time, if that makes any sense. But I could talk to 4 people or I could talk to 4,000 people. All right. So coming out here live is really the best thing I can do for you, you know? So, 私のお姉さん、妹は日本人ですが、英語や海外のことは当たり前のように過ごしてます。Well, okay, so I think I understood the comment, and so Bailey, let's just switch it here. And if you really want to become kind of like how do you say fluent in English, and you really kind of want to join the world conversation, one of the things you could do is just say that comment in English. I know that a lot of people get all kind of like embarrassed or whatever, like if they actually have to use English, but it's actually okay. Because if anybody knows me, you know that my Japanese isn't perfect. It's it's not native, you know what I mean? I do my best, but I make a lot of mistakes when I speak Japanese. So basically, I know the struggle, you know what I mean, of learning a second language. So I actually, it's weird because like my lessons are so, my videos are so kind of like, なんか変な訛りじゃないみたいなね。But it is true, right? The things that I do say are true, and that's why I choose to use famous people as like subject matter for my lessons because they're famous, big deal. They got a lot of money. And who cares if you kind of a little more, what's the word, direct with famous people because it's not like they're suffering. You know what I mean? They're rich and they're famous, right? So let's go see. Okay, so yeah, okay. That's okay. That's okay, Bailey, because like 本当に、まあ、英語でも日本語でも会話できるから、ね、でも本当に、もし、本当バイリンガルになりたかったらね、まあ、今の考え方を英語にしないと。ね。で、まあ、何を考えてるかって、まあ、まあ、何でもいいから、とりあえず、バイリンガルになりたかったらね、このスイッチを探さないといけないから、で、そのスイッチは誰や、じゃあ誰やじゃなくてどこやって感じですね。ここそれともここそれともここですね。こうスイッチして、Oh, wow, I can actually speak English now. It's a quick little thing, but once you find it, you just have to stay in it and you just have to keep practicing until you never leave it again. So hopefully this makes sense. But again, becoming bilingual, this is the whole point of this entire stream, if you know what I mean. Everything that I'm saying is directed at you and you and you and you and all the people that watch this, right? Because how do you become bilingual is the question of the day. And if your teacher knows, your teacher should be teaching that. But your teacher doesn't know. This is the thing. I don't think your teacher really knows how to become bilingual. If they do, then they need to be doing it more often. And that is giving you pure English, if that makes any sense. Like, there's no subtitles here. You can't watch English. You know what I mean? You gotta like listen. That's the only way you're gonna get understand it. So Kome says, こちらの YouTube はどちらの国に対しては発信してますか？日本人向きしたら、英語オンリーでかなり Okay, so let's get into the English only part of this conversation. Is that as you can see, my Japanese isn't perfect, and I will always stand by that assessment. My Japanese is definitely not perfect. It takes me a long time to read it. And this is why I don't like having a conversation over text, is because I'm actually a lot quicker in understanding what you say if I hear it. You know what I mean? That's why I invited somebody, anybody really, to participate in this conversation by clicking that link. I think if I send it again, maybe you guys will get it. Hopefully, um, one of you will be brave enough to hop on and actually have a conversation. So cute. 日本語が少し、違う日本語が、あ、そうなんですか。ありがとうございます。無意識的にこう喋ってるから、失敗するつもりないです。頑張ります。って感じ。But that's the same feeling you guys have to have when you speak English. So イギリス英語しかできませんでした。Well, that's fine too. If you used to be able to speak something, that's fine too. Because getting it to come back is just a matter of having a conversation with somebody. So let me drink some coffee because this is really important. Once you know how to become bilingual, right? So hopefully your teacher knows how to become bilingual. Then the second thing you gotta judge your teacher by is your teacher teaching you with real English, right? So that's one of the big pet peeves that I have with a lot of lessons that I see is that they're giving you this English that isn't really used in reality. And there's so many different examples of this. It just kind of, I don't want to say upsets me, but I do get passionate about this part of the lesson because um, there is a fake English that people are using when you watch the internet. It's usually slower and it's usually more easy to understand. However, when you're actually having a conversation with somebody in reality, there's a lot of moving parts going on. You know, you're running through a forest, right? And then there's your attention going this way, your attention's going that way. And all of a sudden, you find yourself just speaking English as you're going, right? You're kind of just running along in the forest speaking English, and you don't even really realize how you got there, but you just know that you're running along and this is actually happening. So, as I actually show you what English sounds like, coming from a real person speaking in real time, you realize that, oh my God, this is hard to understand. Um, 外先輩ちょっとゆっくり話してくれないって感じ? And it's like, okay, yes, but no, I can't because we're speaking English, all right? Like if I'm talking normally, which is what I'm doing, this is how I'm going to talk to you, even if I meet you at a cafe, even if I see you on the street. And I've met a lot of you on the street, and I always appreciate it when I meet you on the street because when I meet you guys on the street, it's like, yes, this is me. Hi, how you doing? You actually listen to my videos though. That's the key part is that it's like, okay, are you listening or are you watching? That's one thing that I'm always paying attention to. So, ごめんなさい、全くわからないので、Yeah, okay, コメ、that's okay. で、大丈夫なんですけど、日本語で、ちょっと待ってくださいね。日本語で話した方がいいですか？だって英語の勉強したいでしょ？ Okay, so let's go back to English. And again, all you got to do is whatever comment that you're saying, just say it in English, okay? でもう大丈夫ですよね。今のコメントを、日本語にしてください。ちゃうわ、英語にしてくださいね。すみません。よく俺、日本語で喋ると間違いが多いんですけれども、もし英語喋れるようになりたかったら、まあ、コメントね、英語ください。大丈夫ですかね？これもちょっとゆっくり言っても、通じるかな？もし、君が、英語喋れるようになりたかったらね、コメントを、英語にしてください。大丈夫ですかね？もう一回言いましょうか？だってさ、英語喋れるようになりたかったら、英語で考えないといけないから、今の考えを、英語にしてください。もちろんね、何回も言うんですけれども、日本語読めますよね、これ。だって、ごめんなさい、全くわからないのでって、なんとか、キャンセルしますみたいな感じですね、コウメさん。ね、漢字読めないんですけれども、留学した時、えー漢字の勉強が辛かったんだよね。でも頑張りました。でもなんかもういいんじゃないかなと思ったんやけどね。だってまあ喋れるようになっとるから、これでいいんちゃおうかと思って。ね、すいません。だから、if you guys, hey, like I see some English. So, yeah, so, まあ、日本人、パパは中国人で、だから子供なくて。So that's one of the interesting issues with bilingual brains is that you mix the languages, and so when you mix the languages, it can be kind of confusing because you really have to pay attention who you're talking to. So as I'm trying to pay attention who I'm talking to English speakers right now. Excuse me, I'm talking to you. And you want to become an English speaker, so basically, I'm going to treat you like an English speaker. That is the only way to like get you up to speed onto like how we actually speak in reality, because I'm quite convinced that a lot of you haven't experienced English in reality, and that's unfortunate for you. I'm sorry. I wish it was a different situation, but yes, a lot of the teachers you've had your entire life have pretty much been lying to you, because that's not how we speak English. Nobody speaks with a what do you call it? Like a PowerPoint with slides, you know what I mean? With subtitles. If you see here, there's no subtitles. This is like we're sitting at a cafe, we're having a conversation. I don't need to be writing anything, and you shouldn't be taking notes because if you truly speak English, then you just fucking speak English. It's done. You've graduated. And I don't know how else to get you to graduate because every time I go to talk, you guys take notes. And that's fine. If you genuinely are learning how to become bilingual, that's fine. Go ahead and take notes. And if you want to really take your learning to the next level, I do recommend my app. And my app is a whole other story. But maybe you can see the link to that in the description if you really want to like look and study English, right? Because one of the key components to all of this conversation is that you cannot see English. This is like the metaphysical part of the lesson, I think, because so many people think that they got to see the language because they're a visual learner. Well, guess what? You're not. Like, newsflash, language is invisible. You can't see it. It's primarily a sound wave. And the only instrument that you need to study a language is your fucking ear. I know, it's crazy, right? Like, you could literally close your eyes and study English all day long, and you'd actually get better. The Japanese people really don't understand this. They think that language is this visual game, and it's 100% not. It's 100% sound. That is the only way to get the information to the right part of your brain. Because if you feed the left part of your brain, the right part of your brain is only going to get a convoluted understanding. It's like, I don't know if you guys know anything about the brain, but let's try to talk about it, okay? Because the brain has two hemispheres, the left and the right. Okay, is this too complicated? You guys went to high school, right? This is not complicated English. So let me just very much catch everybody's attention. Talking about the brain, you got a brain, you got a face, you got eyes, you got ears, right? Okay, you got a brain and we're going to cut it into half. You got the left side, we got the right side. This is a super simplified explanation of what's happening. But when you look at information, it goes to the visual cortex, which is like over here, right? And when you listen to something, it does not go to the visual cortex. It goes to the like MP3 player, if you know what I mean. So it is definitely different, to say the least. And so when you input your brain with visual information, it basically, the visual cortex then sends it to the audio thing. And that process right there that's happening in your brains is possibly inefficient, to say the least. Because why teach your brain sounds through visual if you could just teach your brain about sounds with sounds? You know what I mean? Is this like a paradox for some people? This could be a paradox, but if it's a paradox, you really should see my lesson. There's a link, I think, somewhere,俺の3ステップ学習法、聞いた方がいいと思うんですけれどもね。だって、こういう簡単な、なんだろうね、脳みその、話理解できてなかったら、じゃあ君英語できないんじゃないっていうね。それでも大丈夫ですけれども、だって、これからどうするという問題ですね。だから俺、先輩としてこうやって、レッスンしていますね。レッスンっていうか、会話ですね。だって、一緒に喋りたいからさ、会話したいからさ。So guys, thank you so much for participating so far into this live lesson, right? But let's get to some, how do you say? I want to get to the chat here. But for whatever reason, my chat thing is not populating. Um, eh, populating my chat's not coming live in the. Oh, am I? Okay, I figured it out. Excuse me, guys. My bad. Hold on. I'm gonna get to the chat thing here. Ah, there it is. I'm so silly. I was whatever. YouTube's funny like that. Hey, there I am. I see you. This is great. So yes, we've been live streaming up till now, and I appreciate you guys' time, and I appreciate. Oh, there, I'm clapping. There's a little delay. Yeah. So Oh, wow, no wonder. Okay, guys, so you've been listening all the way up to now, and now let me just share this with all of y'all, all y'all, because if you guys want to participate in this conversation, just go ahead and click that link right there. There I am. I thought I was sending it, and I guess it wasn't getting sent. So anyway, the my daughter's inside English now, first year over in Japanese primary school, maybe. Nice. Well, way to go. That's awesome. So Bailey, one of the things that you can really do to help your daughter with English is to give her a real immersive environment, and that immersive environment is really about you interacting with your daughter in English as well. So you guys can learn together. It's okay. You just have to be honest with your daughter. I think I don't have a kid, so don't quote me on this, but basically, honesty really is the best policy. And so you can be honest with your daughter. And be like, まあ正直ね、私でも、英語ちょっとできないから一緒に勉強しましょうね。で、すごくいい先生見つけたから、because let's just be honest that a lot of Japanese people don't have direct contact with actual English speakers, and when they do, it's usually mitigated through some sort of like lesson or something like that, or school, right? But as we all know, when we learned our original language, it was basically done at home, and it was done with our parents or your family or something like that. And so you don't need a classroom to learn a language. I mean, everybody that learns a second language spoke the second language before they even ever got to a classroom. So I swear to God, you guys don't need teachers, you don't need lessons, you don't need subtitles, you don't need textbooks. By now, if you've been studying enough other YouTubers, right? This is the whole point of my story, is that you don't need to be taking lessons anymore. You just need to have a conversation. That is why I have in my3ステップ学習法なんですけれども、ステップ2はね、千人より千人ですね。だって、英語、学校の千人、先生千人ですね。山の上の千人じゃなくて、まあ、街の中の100人、1000人と話した方がいいですね。それが君の先生って感じですね。1000人。ね、わかる ?100 人、1000人ですね。いろんな人と話した方がいいということですね。まあ、今、日本語でちょっと喋ってるんですけれども、許してくださいね。だって、you guys gotta listen to like 1,000 different people. And when you listen to them, you just have to kind of, how do you say, measure it and weigh it out, right? And so if you listen to like 7 people who speak English like this, because this English lesson is designed for you to understand. However, I must be very clear the way I am speaking now is not real. This is a fake style, if you will. I am speaking slowly and I kind of sound like a robot. Oh my God, it feels so. I gotta wipe that off of my mouth. I need to drink a cup of coffee. That felt so dirty. Oh my God. Holy shit. I get so angry inside of my heart because I know what it's like to not understand what somebody's saying because they're talking normally. Okay. But what I'm saying right now is normal. Anybody that speaks English right now wants to get into like a little fist fight with me, like, ooh, Koi senpai, you're stupid or whatever. Like, okay, go ahead, click the link, let me know what you think. I mean, seriously, if the conversation has to go that way, right? But again, all of my channel is designed for you, the viewer of this video, right? And find you wherever you are, right there. And the viewer of this video needs to be listening to what I'm saying. That's it. Like, if you listen to what I'm saying, I'm going to help you get better. But you literally got to listen. Like, you can't watch. So if you're watching my face right now, you're missing the point. It's really got to pay attention with your ears. So hopefully you guys have earphones in. Hopefully you got the volume turned up, like, hey, can you hear it, man? Turn it up. Cause like, seriously, the realest English that you could possibly hear is from real people who are just actually having conversations in real time in real places. So, like, that's like 間違いないって感じですね。間違いないっていうか、それしかないんじゃない？ If you're learning English on the internet, you got to be so careful. You have to be filtering their credentials and like that, can you actually teach me anything? And it's like, I've been studying for so long, how come I can't speak English yet? And it's just like, okay, well, hold on, like we got a few problems here, don't we? Because first of all, you're going to schools. That's why you don't speak English, because you're going to schools, because the schools don't teach you anything about reality English. And then probably the second reason you don't speak English is that you're not going into reality and actually having conversations with real people. You got to go out there and talk to real people. This is just how you do it. You can't avoid it. And all the apps that I see right now that are like, learn English with AI is like, oh my God, what a nightmare. The nightmare has become reality. You know, the dystopia that the science fiction authors have been discussing for many decades now is like becoming real. You know, it's like, oh, we're just going to be talking to robots for the rest of our lives. No thanks. Holy fuck. You're kidding me, right? Like you're learning English by there's like 8 billion people on the planet and you can't find one person to talk to? マジわからない。English class time. まあ大丈夫ですね。Japanese teacher English class time. Teachers, yeah, so we got to focus, right? And we got to focus on one thing. But basically, when we speak English, we speak English. And that's the only thing we do. So we speak English. When we speak English, we speak English. We don't use Japanese when we speak English, so we have to speak English. And even if you can't say it in English perfectly, that's okay. You just got to keep trying. You just have to kind of like, gambaru, fighting, right? You just got to find that switch. Did we talk about the switch? I think we talked about the switch, but I'm going to find that switch and I'm just going to switch it. I'm not going to use Japanese and I'm only going to use English. That is the only way to elevate your speaking ability, right? The more that you actually think in English, the more you're going to actually speak English, okay? So, as we go through this, we're going to take thought after thought after thought and we're going to put it into English. We're not going to go to Japanese, we're going to stay in English, right? So, never forget that there's kind of like a loop happening when you learn a language and you got like 15 seconds basically to kind of really understand how the loop is happening, but either you understand what I'm saying or you don't. 今言ってること分かってるでしょ？だって日本語だったら字幕がなくても分かるよね。俺の顔見なくても、言ってること分かってますよね。大丈夫だよね。カイ先輩がこうやって生放送で喋ってますね。人間なんですけれども、ロボットじゃないし、AI じゃないし、本当に、まあ、10ヶ月だけでバイリンガルになりました。今、セリフ読んでるんですかね、俺。この話何回もしたことがあるんですけれども、ね、今理解してるか理解してないかって感じ。それだけ。で、理解してなかったら、じゃあなんでって感じですね。ちょっと待ってください。カイ先輩、ちょっと喋り方が早すぎて、もう一度言ってくださいって感じ。バックしてくださいね。だって君が、まあ、動画とか見て、聞いて、映画とかさ、で、わかんない時があるじゃん。それでストップして、バックして、もう一回聞けるよね。でもこうやって生放送で喋ってるから、俺のババババババ、English、バババ、English、ババババババ、English って感じがするよね。字幕がないから。いや、字幕見てるから聞いてないっていうことですね。So you gotta get used to what I'm saying as I'm saying it. So please, guys, switch into English mode, right? Like if I could like warning, please switch to English mode now. If you switch to English mode now and you stay in English mode, then you're going to get better sooner than any other lesson on the planet. So with me, let's just stay in English right here. This box right here that you see, this is English mode, all right? So hopefully what we're going to do is just switch the mode, right? Like maybe if I'm like going like this, Kai senpai desu. こうやってね、授業中って感じでね、じゃあこれからレッスンしたいんですか？はい。じゃあ、こちらの、これ、字幕読んでくださいですね。俺の英語カラフリガナもあるし、ね、まあ、いろんなレッスンあるんですけれどもね、いろんな動画作ったことあるから、どうぞ、こちらのリンクとかあると思うんですけれども、ご覧くださいね。だって、僕、日本語できるじゃないですか。違うか。でも、we gotta kind of like take off the suit, right? We gotta basically switch. We got to find that switch in our brains and we got to stay in English. So, I was talking about your favorite English YouTuber. If you have one, please let me know in the comments. Or if you'd like to participate in this conversation, go ahead, click that link, and let's have a conversation right here, right now, live. You understand good, Bailey. I thank you for your cooperation with this conversation right now, and I'm having fun. Hopefully, you're having fun as well. I do want to entertain a lot of people right now. I think this is fun for me. Hopefully, it's fun for you. But I also do want to actually affect change into your lives. I want you to take whatever you learn in this box and I hopefully you apply it into your reality, into your kitchen, into your living room, into your walks with your daughter, into your walks with your friends. Every time you have dinner together, every time you talk on the phone together, there's like this kind of like little whisper inside your ear. And that whisper is like, hey, we can speak English. Yes, we can. You and I got a brain, right? So anybody anybody with a brain can basically listen and mimic. Now, the mimicking part can be hard. And I do recommend lessons for that if you need help with that, because there are a lot of sounds that don't exist in Japanese. Really be angry for a second. Another lesson just today, and they were saying the word the, but they were like writing da, and they were saying that we say da, and I'm like, no. Oh my god, you're hurting my brain because we don't say da. We might say duh, like duh, but we don't say da. And I don't know how else to say that other than we don't. And I literally can't believe that people are watching this other lesson and kind of believing it, you know? So to me, I kind of feel a responsibility to kind of like tell you guys the truth. You know, for example, we don't say da, we might say duh, but it's definitely not da. And the difference between da and duh is kind of like duh, because either you can mimic the sounds or you can't, right? And if you can't, it's okay. You got to take a lesson. And I highly recommend my app if you want to go through the sounds of English, because the difference between da and duh, right, is like avocado green and then like umbrella, no, flamingo pink. And if you could see that, which you can if you start to study with my color system, you could see the difference between the colors. I mean, excuse me, you can see the difference between the sounds, right? Because one is avocado green and the other one is flamingo pink. So da and duh are totally different sounds, right? And so when you study English, you got to study the sounds, not the letters. And every single, I would say, lesson that not is not serving you is basically confusing you by giving you visual information that doesn't really match the reality, because they literally wrote da in katakana ne. It's like that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We don't. And it's just so kind of frustrating. Again, that you guys are basically getting lied to. You're getting deceived. A lot of the lessons that you see just aren't teaching you reality. And even a lot of the lessons that you're watching, even though they have a glimpse of reality in there, they're not giving you the full experience, because the full experience is finding the switch. You know what I mean? The more you think about this in Japanese, the less you get what I'm saying. You know, do you get it? ちょっと日本語で説明した方がいいですか？そうだよね。スイッチを探してますね、今。で、 Yeah, your daughter is serious. Good. Well, your daughter basically just has to stay in English. I think she can do it. It's like a game, right? でも日本人の大人はどうしても英語になると嫌だって感じになっちゃいますね。嫌だ、英語だけ辛いって感じですね。ごめん、ごめんね。まあ、俺も、一日中第二言語の勉強したことがあるから、ね、疲れるよね。わかるよ。1時間目、2時間目、3時間目、4時間目。もう日本語、日本語、日本語、日本語って感じですね。疲れるよ。でもこれは40分だけやん。な。1日想像できますか？ Can you speak English all day? I would say most Japanese people would like fall flat in 10 minutes. Bailey, I know you're listening, and I appreciate that. And hopefully, a lot of other people are listening too, because I'm serious about this. If you want to become bilingual, all you got to do is go talk to like 1,000 people. So, but that I explain. Hopefully, if you see the link in the comments or something like that, if you want to see the other lesson that talks about that, but sending yori sending that. So then, finally, if you really want to take your English to the next level, stop reading textbooks, okay? And stop taking courses, basically. Stop taking textbooks and just really um, listen to what somebody said today and just make a flashcard. So if I said anything today that kind of caught your attention and you're like, "Hey, what does that mean?" or "What's he mean?" But when he says this, or maybe you noticed my pronunciation is kind of different than what you learned in school, because what you learned is what you learned, right? So it's not what did you learn or what you learned. It's what ya. I said what ya, right? So that what ya. Oh, you hear that kind of short. So whatever you heard today, whatever you learned today, you just make a how do you say a flashcard, and you just because whatever you learned is whatever you learned, right? It's not my job to teach you English. My only job, if you really think about it, is to give you pure English, right? Like to give you gold, to give you diamonds, basically. This is the best thing that I could possibly be doing for you, is just giving you the truth. It's your job to kind of like learn. And only you can know what you're learning right now, because only you know when you don't understand, right? So if you do have something that you don't understand, 何か質問があればね、どうぞ聞いてくださいね。日本語でも英語でもね。だって、like I said, you're teaching yourself. I'm not teaching anything. So, カットンさん、カイ先輩、こんにちは。最近アメリカの ALT 発音アメリカ人みたいだって言われて嬉しかったですね。シカゴとかカリフォルニアの訛りとか。そうですね。はい。それで自信もっと持って、よっしゃー That's how you do it. Like it's the difference between Chicago and California. There's probably a few different things that we could talk about, but at this point, it doesn't matter, because you having conversations is the best thing that you can do. And even if somebody says, well, you sound like a Californian, or you sound like a Chicago person, um, it doesn't really matter, because you can play with it, right? And the more you get, the more advanced you get in English, you're able to basically just switch it up a bit if you want. And so I try to talk in my real voice as much as possible. You know what I mean? But I don't know exactly where my real voice is. It's between here and there, if you know what I mean. Because this is really important. This accent thing. You can tell where somebody's from and where they're not from. And basically, anybody that's listening right now should be able to tell that I'm not from over there. I'm from over here. You know what I mean? And so you got to pay attention to these sounds, because even if I wrote this out, you basically realize that I've done something here. There's a bit of magic going on, and it's not because of anything that I wrote. It's because I'm performing it a bit differently. You know what I mean? Have you ever heard the Beatles? Because they talk like this. They got a weird little intonation. They got a weird little accent. And I don't know it 100%, because I've never been to Liverpool, you know? But I've heard enough the Beatles. I'm like, okay, I can kind of do that. Why son with a laugh? Thank you very much. But I can kind of change my accent, kind of, right? But honestly, everything that I'm doing is so subconscious that I'm not thinking. I'm just speaking, right? And I've got the whole English game like nailed. You know what I mean? Like as far as English goes, I got it nailed. So I can just like turn it on and just start talking, right? でも、まあ、君たちはまあ、こうやって英語で喋ってる、なんていう、喋る機会があんまりなくて、まあ、7割って習ってんのって感じ。アメリカ人みたいな7割で話してほしいのみたいな。Yes, I want you guys to like play around with accents because that's the only thing that really matters. And I don't know if any of the other teachers really talk about that because they're like teaching you like English, but there's no such thing as English. Everybody has an accent, and including you. It's just that your accent happens to be a little harder to understand, because it sounds weird. Um, the difference between, it is, like hurt and hard, right? And if you say it hurts. It's like, oh, really? Like you're in pain. It's like, no, it's hard. You're like, oh, you mean the test was difficult. Okay, okay. So, sounds matter. And choosing the right sound is the difference between understanding and not understanding. And the only reason why you guys don't understand what I'm saying is because the sounds. 大丈夫だよね。英語できない、英語を理解してない理由は、まあ、音慣れてないだけですね。はい。だから、じゃあ、音の勉強しましょうって感じですね。文字の勉強じゃなくて、音を勉強しましょうね。字幕がなくても、これ理解できるはずですね。But again, I switch into English and all of a sudden, people are like, this is too much. This is too much English. Kai senpai talks way too fast. It's like, no, actually, anybody that speaks English out there knows that I'm talking pretty normally. It sounds fast, but it's not. You know what I mean? So, I'm playing outside with friends. Well, your son should be outside playing with his friends, and hopefully he's playing in English because a lot of the English that I learned was from friends. You know what I mean, dude? Because, like, awesome. Like, dude, that was sick. Like, do it again. Like, we totally kind of like all hung out together and we kind of just like, this is how we talked. So, seriously, hanging out with friends is a really good thing. So your son should continue to hang out with his friends. Hopefully they're speaking English, you know what I mean? But like I can't, how do you make friends, right? How do you make English speaking friends? So Jay Satali says, ですかこの登録していいですかジェイサタリーさん、登録してもいいんですけれども、登録って何に登録するまあ、登録だよね。まあ、チャンネルに登録してくださいって感じ。まあ、日本語と英語だけ、まあ、今のところはね、日本語と英語だけなんですけれども、韓国人、まあ、英語できるかって感じですね。Because of course I can talk to you in English, right? 무슨 말인지 하나도 말해요. That's about the 감사합니다. Like I don't really speak Korean, so like if you can communicate in English, we could totally talk. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole point of speaking English, right? Is that oh my god, we can talk to anybody around the world. And just a whole disclaimer, I'm in Korea right now. I'm actually in Korea. It's a whole long story because I don't have a visa to live in Japan. So I can only visit Japan for 3 months at a time. So basically, I'm taking a break from Japan and I came over to Korea because it was close. It's pretty cold here, not gonna lie. And it's gonna be 0 degrees tomorrow, apparently, something like that. -1, I think, actually, in Korea. So I'm not looking forward to that. That is gonna be kind of a brutal, how do you say, kick in the pants, if you know what I mean, because I gotta put on my heat tech and stuff like that. One of the cool things about being a YouTuber, and this is just me personally talking, but I can work from home. And so where I am right now is in my secret studio. And my studio is basically a bedroom because I can film everywhere. I got 2 lights, I got the microphone, I got a tripod. I can work from anywhere. So I do want to make videos for you guys, and eventually I want to make videos for people in Korea too. 私も日本語も英語も大丈夫ですが、まあよかったですね、ジェイサッターさん。だってさ、ごめんね、ムスマナジ花友だよね。韓国語を勉強したくないよね、俺。ね、ごめんね。だって、時間かかるからね。実は、ね、第2か、第3の言語を勉強するって。ね、スペイン語もちょっと喋りたいなと思ったんだけど、メキシコシティ結局行って、なんだろうね、暇がないなって感じですね。とりあえず俺、なんかみんなのために動画作りたいなと思う。ね。And making videos actually takes a lot of my time. And it's kind of time consuming to edit basically. And I don't want to talk about that kind of side of everything because I do want to do valuable things for you guys. And editing just feels like a waste of my time. So anyway, 日本語できるんだったら韓国語は簡単ですか？いやー、どうだろう。そうですかね。まあ、喋りたいっていう気持ちがあればね、俺頑張れると思うんですけれどもね、韓国語をね。だって、毎日編集してるんですけれどもね、次の動画とかさ。それで、まあ、家で編集するのがちょっと辛いですね。つまんなくて、ちょっと、まあ、いつもスタバ行ってるからね。で、スタバで編集するって、まあ、なんだろうね、ちょっと落ち着くのね、俺。それで、まあ、韓国語でコーヒー注文するって難しいですね。で、あの、まあ、韓国語全くわかんないから、全くできないから、一斉のもできない、一斉、1、2、3みたいなできないしね。だって計算最後の、現金払うとき、なんか何言ってるかわかんないですよ。ね。わかんないから、ね。もうダメだよね。俺、韓国語、ちょっとって感じじゃ、ちんぷんかんぷんって感じですね。それで、まあ、1、2、3ってなんだろうね、韓国語。覚える暇もないって感じだね、今。なんでかというと、まあ、編集してるからね。だから、Can I get a coffee? とかさ、英語で注文するんですよ。韓国で。で、理解できる人も理解できない人もいます。韓国でも。だからまあ、指で指して、coffee, give me coffee now. Why do I 買ったことになっちゃってさ。でも、まあ、英語できる人もいるから、まあ、韓国でも、ちょっと動画作りたいなと思うんだけどね。でも韓国語で説明する時間もないしね、いろいろね。だって、まあ、長い話になっちゃうから。はい、文法が一番簡単か。はい。まあ、maybe that would be the easy part. So, 英語以外でテストとかになる文法間違いやしたね。なので、文法間違いないためにもっと英語と音を聞くのはいいですかね。はい。まあ、いい質問ですね。But, it depends on what your goal is ね。カトーンさんね。カトーンさん。Because your goal is what? You're just trying to pass a test, or you're actually trying to speak English. So if you're actually trying to speak English, the only thing that you got to do is speak English with real people. Because who fucking cares what you got in the test? You know what I mean? The test is when you go out into reality and you talk to somebody. That's how you know. So, me being in Korea, like, I have no pride in my Korean ability. I have no real goal to learn Korean. I feel embarrassed because, hey, I learned Japanese. Does that count here? Do I get any credit? And no, I don't get any credit for learning Japanese in Korea because they don't give a fuck if I speak Japanese or not. So it's like, okay, I guess I have to speak English, but English is a worldwide language, so you guys should understand, right? It's like no, a lot of people don't understand English here either. So again, what's the goal? The test if you will. You know, what's the point? When does this matter? And you can sit on the internet all day long with a phone in front of your face and just be looking at the next video and 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 the next video, and you're never going to learn English. You know, like you got to get out there and talk to real people. You know, hopefully while drinking a cup of coffee. And if you're blessed, hopefully while you're drinking a beer, you know, because like talking to people while drinking can be fun too. So there's so many opportunities for you guys to go outside and like just meet people, you know, but you don't do it. And it's like, what else, right? Like, you know, it's like, huh? Like, okay, like you want to speak English, then speak English. All right, Jisata Lee. I am Korean, but I live in LA. I love living in LA. That's good. I used to live in Hollywood. I lived off Hollywood and Vine, and I liked my neighborhood. If you like your neighborhood, I'm happy for you because like there's a lot of neighborhoods in LA that kind of suck, and if you don't have a car, life in LA can be tough. So I definitely am concerned about you because LA, that's one of the things I think that a lot of people don't know before going to LA. There's like, oh, I'm just going to go to America. I'm going to learn English or something, right? Just going to go to whatever school, right? But it's like, ooh, yeah, no, the neighborhood really matters in LA. Like a good neighborhood is a good neighborhood. And a bad neighborhood is a bad neighborhood in LA, if you know what I mean. So, oh wow, and you're a sushi chef. That's amazing. So you get to trick the Americans. You just like just when they come in, just yell like "Irashaimase." Just say it real bad, you know. And then they're like, "Are you Japanese?" I'm sure you get asked that all the time. And you say, "Watashi wa Nihonjin de wa arimasen." 私は韓国人なんですけれども、お前が違いわからんやろ。違うか。I mean, I think it would be funny if you talked honestly with Americans because they don't know, you know? They're ignorant. They don't know. And they're not going to know until you tell them. So you just got to be honest. And so I think it's cool if you just be honest and play with them. You know what I mean? Irashaimase. Dozo. 何人目様 違うか Say it real American, you know what I mean? Like, and they're like, what? 日本語大丈夫ですかみたいな。いや、全然大丈夫ですけれども、何を食べたいでしょうか注文いかがでしょうかああねえ、俺、日本のレストランで働いた方がいいですね。楽しいね。どうも、カイ先輩です。ウェイターです。ウェイター役です。じゃあ、何か食べたいですかあ、ちょっと、メモしますね。So, let me, what can I get you? So, you want a hot coffee, a stack of pancakes, side of bacon and eggs? All right. This is going to be the most delicious meal you've ever had. Hold on. Let me get those coffees for you right now. 違うか。そうですね。俺、ウェイター役できますね。はい。違うか。$300になります。Wow! That's a lot of money. Damn. Maybe I should be a sushi chef. 誰も信じてくれないと思うんですけれども。いらっしゃいませ。いらっしゃい。いらっしゃい。言い方大丈夫ですかいらっしゃい。なんか、あれ、日本人から来ましたかみたいな。今、外国人ですかみたいな。いらっしゃい。はい。はい。お任せが一番美味しいんじゃないか。すごいな。アメリカ人騙しやすいですね。本当に。まあ、しょうがないよね。そうだよね。まあ、経験っていうことですね。じゃあ、俺、いいやつを作ってあげるか。任して。これ絶対美味しいよ。今、おにぎり作っとるけど。よっしょ違うか。はい、どうぞ。 こうやってね。そうだね、じゃあ俺、寿司シェフになりましょうか。でも、カットできないな、俺。なんかそのカットのやり方がちょっと苦手ですね、僕、こうやって、なんか包丁を持って、ね。まあまあまあまあまあ、でも誰も信じてくれないよね。日本語完璧な日本語で話してもね。いやいやいやいや、俺全然上手くないですね。日本語できない役です。違うか。そうですね。まあ、だからまあ、アメリカ人騙しやすいからちょっと遊んであげてみたいなね。だってみんな、本当の日本人と喋りたいっていう気持ちがあるんじゃないですか。俺でもね、お寿司屋さん行くと、今日のお寿司の人は、もしかして日本人ですかねっていうちょっと楽しみがあるんですけれど、いつもアメリカ人がいるから、ああ、I'll get a dragon roll って感じですね。はい。すごく日本人、大事そうだね、ロシア人こういう感じで、無駄な気になit's hard to do. I can't do it. Russia, I can't do it. In Russia, they speak different. Da. I can't do it. I've heard Russian English before, and I can like kind of like okay, you're from Eastern Europe, Russia kind of thing, Ukrainian Russian English. But I can't. I wouldn't. I'm not. How do you say? I'm not exactly a parody artist, you know what I mean? I know that there's other YouTubers that are like, oh, I can parody these people's voices, right? 私は日本人です。違うか、違うか、違うか、違うか。私は、まあ今日本人の真似してると思うんですけれども、違うか。ね、でも、まあどうしてもね、外国人に聞こえると思うから、まあいいんじゃない俺の日本語はね。I can't do all the sounds. I'm not an impersonator. You know what I mean? 海先輩です。えー、外国人、外国の人、お寿司って美味しく感じるのですかね。まあ、それはなんだろうね。だって生魚やろって、いろんな過失があるでしょ。まあ、なんだろうね。これ、ね、Trader Joe's、ね、アメリカのスーパーなんですけれども、カリフォルニアにあるんだけど、そのスーパーのお寿司、まあ、お弁当みたいな寿司あるじゃん。ね。日本でもね。で、その Trader Joe's の寿司をちょっと食ってみたら、まあ、まずかったよね。So, like I don't know, it's like it wasn't fresh or something. It was weird. Like the rice was like hard. It was like all the little details, right? You're like, I don't know, like I don't know if they know, basically, is what I'm saying. So, and you don't know if you know until you go, you know? So, like, it's interesting because only people that have really been to like both places can really say definitively, hey, this sushi is a little, a little strange, but I've kind of like put that out of my head for a long time because I know that when you go to America, everybody's just like dedicated to like the dragon roll or the rainbow roll or the rock and roll, like, sushi, right? So, I think there's just two different experiences and you just have to experience it for yourself. So, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's really そうだね。アメリカで寿司流行ってますね。でも、there's so many different stereotypes, so many different things that I could possibly say about this. But yeah, a lot of Americans just really don't know anything about Asia in general. So it's always fun to talk to them, I think. But, it's always your discretion to kind of educate because at the end of the day, sometimes people are there just for the food, not for the cultural experience, if you know what I mean. And I've been to a few, like I went to like a sushi burrito place in Huntington, and sushi burrito isn't exactly traditional. So you just have it in your head that I'm eating a sushi burrito. Like, it's not sushi, it's a sushi burrito. So you judge it based on, well, however you feel about it. If you really genuinely think a sushi burrito is delicious, then you go with it, you know? But if it's just a gimmick, then you go with that as well. Because if it's a gimmick, it's a gimmick. And there's a lot of gimmicks when it comes to sushi. Some of those gimmicks take off and become, the Philadelphia roll, for example, right? Everybody knows the Philadelphia roll, right? I would like to talk to the creator of the Philadelphia roll if you want to be honest, but like what were you thinking when you put cream cheese in the sushi? Like what was going through your mind? Because I wasn't thinking. I mean, what's next? Peanut butter? So I digress. Uh, Guys, if you really want to have the conversation, and I forget to say this enough, but you can seriously hop on and talk to me live because this is the greatest thing that I could possibly do for you. And I only have a few minutes left because the battery is running out on my phone. I kind of the amount of time that I'm doing this because scarcity creates value. Chigoka. No, but it's serious. Like my time invested in you guys is to get you guys how do you say it, better at having a conversation in English, right? So we can have this conversation in Japanese. There's no problem with that. I like to speak Japanese. だってさ、韓国に来てから、日本語を話す機会があまりないですね。みんなに、韓国語で喋っとるから、で、本当にまあ、コミュニケーション取りたいとき、まあ、君が英語できないと、まあ、コミュニケーション取れないということですね。韓国ではね。So I got to deal with it, and I just don't have as many conversations as I'd like to because, well, how many people can really keep up with the conversation going on in my head? Because when you're thinking about headlines and thumbnails and all that kind of stuff as a YouTuber, right? It's hard to have conversations with people that aren't thinking about the same things that I'm thinking about. So when I say to you guys, who's your favorite YouTuber? I actually want to know because I think it would be interesting to basically know what you guys are thinking. I want to know like how you guys learn uh, English online. You know what I mean? Like I didn't. Oh, だってさ、俺日本語を勉強してた時ね、インターネットということがなかったんだよね。俺、まあ、昭和生まれなんですけれども、あの時代ね、まあ、平成だったんだけどね、留学した時ね、インターネットということなかったから、ネットがなくても、ね、喋れるようになるよね。だから君たちはもうネット使って英語の勉強してるって、もう超ラッキーだよね。何でも検索できるやん。なあ、もし質問があればね。俺、その時、もうネットがなくて、もう本物の人間に聞いたんだよ。例えば、レストラン行く時、なんか、3人がおるなんだろうね。おります。そうそうそうそう、おります。だから3人がいる、3人います。だよね。でも関西行くと、まあ3人おるってよく言うやん。それでちょっとそのおるを丁寧したかったら、おりますって言いますか？3人おります。おる。ね。大丈夫？今の質問分かっとる？だって、それ検索して、なんだろうね、信用できるかどうかわからんやん。俺の質問って。なんだろうね。俺しか考えてないかもわからんけど、でもそれ本物の人間に聞いた方がいいんちゃうか。ね。だから同じように、if you guys got any questions at all、何か質問があればね、第二言語の勉強に関して、どうぞ、カイ先輩に聞いてくださいね。こうやって生放送してるから。そうですね。This is live. I am like talking like a seal right now. Given the best performance of your life, because this is the best lesson of your life. This is the lesson that changes your life. Because now, from now on, you know what you're going to do when you study English. Okay. So if anybody wants to tell me the favorite YouTuber, go ahead. But I'm just going to tell you how to become bilingual. Ready? Focus on sounds, 1,000 people, and then make flashcards from everything that you heard over the course of the day. All right. I just did it. I hope you open a channel for Korean. We love to learn English. You don't need to learn Korean to teach English for Korean. I know that's the crazy thing, right? That like maybe a few more Koreans have the right attitude when they're learning English, and that is, well, basically, you just gotta talk in English. But a lot of Japanese people, when they're learning English, they think in Japanese. 大丈夫今の混乱分かったのかな日本人は。ね、日本人が英語を勉強すると日本語で考えてるっていう問題ですね。You gotta like think in English if you're gonna learn English. So stop using Japanese. Stop thinking in Japanese. Stop writing in Japanese, and please just use English. Because if you want to speak English, then you got to start the gears, right? The gears start inside of your brain, and the brain is like a gear. It's turning, but it's not turning in English, it's turning in Japanese. So if you want to speak English, you got to get the gears to turn in English. So V and V. Oh my gosh. Well, we can talk about that because that one's a really easy one. See, the B is basically this sound right here, the right, right. But the V is same thing. So the B is the lips touch each other, right? 大丈夫ですか？まあ、英語にしても日本語にしても同じと思うんですけれども、唇ね、こうやってバババババみたいなね、唇の上の方と下の方が触ってlike a snap ね、大丈夫ですね。でも V がね、前歯がね、前歯がこの下の唇を触りながら、乗せて、なんか空気出しながら、前歯と唇の間ね。で、大丈夫ですね、この顔って。なんかちょっと不細工なんですけれども、こういう顔をしないと、V の発音できない。違うか。まあ、笑ってもね、うー、うー、うーで、空気出しながら声をちょっとつける。なんか、volume, vase, right? Vanity. Yeah, so B and V, base and vase, the 違いが、まあ、もう、like うんこぐらいの違いがあるからね。So, 気をつけてください。I like this channel and I like how you teach. Well, thank you, Jay Sata. I appreciate that. And if you want to keep learning with me, yeah, please watch my videos. Go check out my three-step thing over there. It's all in Japanese though, you know what I mean? Because like I kind of I really for now have focused all my efforts like on kind of helping Japanese people learn English because I learned Japanese, and it was like a weird kind of like karma situation, I think, where it's like, okay, I wanted to be useful to the world, right? How to become useful to the world, besides just being so handsome and cool. You know what I mean? Like, I know that really helps the world kind of like be a better place by me just being cool, right? But I was like, yeah, I actually gotta like help people, right? And so how do I help people? Oh, well, I could just teach English because English is pretty useful. Like once you learn how to speak English, you have access to the World Wide Web. You have access to like all the knowledge on the planet. You have access to the latest science. You have access to like mind-bending entertainment. Learning English is pretty cool. And if you learn English like now, you have access now. So the sooner you learn English, the better your life is going to be. However, there's so many people that do not know how to use the internet correctly, and they're watching the wrong channel. They're watching the wrong teacher, and more specifically, they're watching. そうだね。目で勉強すると絶対上達できないから、耳で勉強しましょう。そうですね。耳って何ですか？まあ、it's your ears. Your ears are right here. So you gotta like listen and you gotta listen and then you gotta listen and then you gotta listen more. And then you're like, holy shit, I gotta listen for 9 more hours. Yes. English is this magical thing that once you get it, you're like, oh, it's a sound. And because it is a sound, I need to practice by using my voice right here. And you just gotta like channel your voice in English. So it's like really just hitting a switch. And I know that you're thinking in Japanese, and こうやって日本語で考えると、自分らしくの声があるってわかる？わかんないけど、俺だって日本語で考えると、間違いがあると思うんですけれども、本当に日本語で考えてると思うんですよ。これは俺と思うんだけどね。変わんないって感じですね。日本語にしても英語にしても俺おしゃれです。違うか。本当に喋ってます。本当に日本語で考えてます。こうやってバイリンガルになりたかったらさ、俺の3ステップ学習法を聞いてください。俺のアプリをダウンロードしてください。だって勉強になるから。君がもっとベルギー人みたいに喋れるようになるから。違うか。Because, like, I'm teaching you guys the real shit, like the real deal. Like, the sounds that are coming out of my mouth are 100% authentic and natural. I'm not a robot. Thank you very much. These are real human eyes, if you know what I mean. Steel blue, I think is what they say. Chigoka. But it's me. Like, if you see me in reality, I'm definitely not going to be wearing this. All right. This is just for the internet kind of thing. But I will be probably looking more like this. So if you see me, feel free to say hi. I am in Korea right now, so it's not like you're going to see me anytime soon. Although maybe I'm going to come back to Japan in spring because it's warmer in spring, and I've been living around the world for the past year, over a year now. I've lived in Mexico City. I've lived in Bangkok, Thailand. I lived in Da Nang in Vietnam. I've lived in Kyoto. I've lived in Tokyo. I've visited Canada to visit my friend for like a few weeks, right? Like, I've had kind of like a free life, if you will, right? Because when you work online, you're able to work anywhere, and that's one of the benefits of what I do, right? But anyway, I digress because right now I'm in Korea and I'm making decisions as I go. I have this kind of philosophy that I want to be free and I want to live anywhere in the world. I want to experience things. I want to go places and I want to talk to people. I want to do things. And one of the things is that, like, if you're watching videos all day, you're not experiencing the world. I know this because everything I learned was not from a video. There was no internet when I learned Japanese. So, reality is what taught me, and reality is what's going to teach you. And reality is real people having real conversations. And the closest I can get you guys to a real reality conversation is by sharing this link. Because if you click it, you're going to be on the podcast or the podcast, the live stream with me. I started a podcast for a little bit, but like I'm looking for my legs here, if you know what I mean. So, Jay Sata, I agree with you. I learned English a lot better by listening. Yeah, well, and that's why I say it's the only way. People think that there's like the visual way and the audio way, but it's like no, no, no. There's only one way. It's first you learn the audio, right? First you learn the sounds, and then you learn the letters. But Japanese people got it backwards, where first they learn the letters, and then they don't even learn the sounds. So it's like, okay, we are like on English 101 right now because what is language? Language is sounds. It's not letters. And that alone should blow everybody's minds right now. Everybody should be like, wait, hold on. So anytime I'm looking at English, I'm not seeing actual English. That is a symbol of English because real English is a sound and you can never see it ever. But we've created symbols that exist in another dimension, the visual dimension, that represent things that cannot be seen because it's an audio dimension. Does this make sense? Because it is so crucial to understand this basic principle of what is language. So that's why I love the video that I just made. If you guys search my channel, you'll see it. It's ランダムな外国人に、英語レベルチェックしましたね。その動画見た方がいいですよ。だって英語ネイティブの人でも A からいくつの音がする て、なんだろうね、これ、質問がおかしいんだけどね、日本語にしたら。でも、How many sounds does letter A make? って、英語ネイティブの人でもわかんないじゃん。グラさん、こんちくわって。Well, thanks for coming by, Gura. Have a seat. Welcome. We've been doing a live stream here for like an hour now. We've been having this conversation. I'm glad that you're here. But now that you're here, I want to introduce myself. My name is KY Senpai, and I'm from America. And from America, we have a funny accent when we talk. Now, I want to teach you that accent right now. So you just have yourself a seat right over there on the horse, and we're going to get started here because when you get an American accent, you're going to sound so much cooler than you did when you didn't have an American accent because the American accent is the best one you can have. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it for sure, but you got to get out there and kind of practice. You know what I mean? You got to get back on that saddle right there and you got to kind of ride it. You know what I mean? You got to kind of get up in it. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I can only do it for so long. 疲れる。アメリカの南の田舎の、あれ、訛り、疲れますね。本当に疲れるって感じですね。But I can try. I can try all day. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? 結局、A の発音どう Oh, yeah. So that's a good question. Warm, baloney. It's like, I was saying 8, but I did research. I did more research. And I found out that the letter A makes more than 8 sounds. And I should probably make a whole video to really discuss that because it's like, um, okay, we gotta. There's it's so deep. So that's why まあ俺の3ステップ学習法を聞いた方がいいよ。だってこれで混乱してるっていう問題も面白くない？英語ネイティブの人でもね、A イコール何みたいな、わかんないっていう状態じゃない？なんだろうね、はって感じですね。みんな混乱してたんじゃない？あの動画見て。英語ネイティブの人が、まあ、A って、1? 3? なんか、もう100%ね、誰も分かってないじゃん。だから、それが面白くないっていう、ちょっとこれが今話したいと思うんですけれどもね。How many sounds does the letter A make? It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Nobody understands this. Now, you got to think about it because if you don't understand the basics, you know what I mean? Just imagine that you're like an astrophysicist and you don't even know the difference between hydrogen and carbon, hydrogen and helium. You know what I mean? These are like the fundamental particles of your belief system. You know what I mean? And you don't understand the difference. You don't understand the qualities of this symbol that represents so many things because a symbol shouldn't be representing so many things. A symbol should be representing one thing. You know what I mean? So it's like you go into Japanese だから日本語にしたらさ、まあひらがなのあ読むとあっていう意味ですね。はい、終了です。ひらがなのう読むと、うっていう音しか出ないよね。大丈夫だよね。はいはいはい。まあ、ひらがなのお読むと、おしかないということですね。はい。まあ、日本語分かりやすいですね。でも、じゃあ、英文字の アルファベット A 読んで、まあ、何の音が出ますかっていう。I'm sorry, I can't understand the question. Because basically, there's a lot of different sounds that come out of an A depending on one, which word it's coming out of. You know what I mean? Like, which word is this A coming out of? Because if it's coming out of this word right here, baloney, well, then the A makes an E. You know what I mean? Then the second problem is who is it coming out of? You know what I mean? Because in other countries, they talk differently. Because when they're in Australia, they talk differently than from America. You know what I mean? So their A sometimes can be an eh, and sometimes their eh can be an eh. So it's just like there's just no conformity to this system, this language system that has no conformity whatsoever. You know what I mean? So you gotta kind of like really understand the problem before you can even get to the answer. Language is invisible. And you gotta listen, guys. So, なんで日本語を喋ると、やんな、CK さん、ちゃんと説明してください。今の漢字読めないから。KY だから。漢字読めない先輩です。だからまあ、よかったら、英語にしてくれませんか？ごめんね。だって通訳者使ってないからね。俺 AI じゃないし、ロボットじゃないし、人間なんですけれども、漢字で書くと、なんか、もう、英語にしてくれまへんか？俺だって英語の教師なんですけれども。英語を教えてるんですけれども、ね、こうやって英語を喋れるチャンスがあるのに、今チャンスがあるのに、日本語で会話してくれるか。Please, guys, if you want to talk to me, you just got to talk in English. And not only do you just got to talk to me in English, you just got to hit that little, how do you say it, that link right there, and just hit that button. Because if you hit that button, you can talk to me live, guys. This is a live seminar, and you can participate by hitting that link right now. And you're going to be on the internet too. Now, I did my makeup today. I shaved. I done there, did it. I got my razor out and I just shaved it, so I'd be looking good for all y'all. But where you at? You afraid to be on the camera? You're like brave enough to watch it, right? Like, oh, I can watch this all day. But are you brave enough to speak it? You know, we have this saying, you know, you talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? And so here I am walking the walk. Everything I say is absolutely true. If you want to get better, if you want to become bilingual, then listen to me. I promise I'm going to teach you. And I'm going to teach you how to do it. First of all, you get off the phone, get into reality, talk to real people. So, 嫌な人って、俺、嫌な人、はい、はい、はい。日本語になると嫌な人ですかね。それはまあ、どうですかね。俺、嫌なやつだったら、まあ、じゃ、君に嫌っていうことですね。わかんないけど、他の人もいるから、で、他の人、まあ、見てるからね。で、それ、初めて聞いたんだけど、CK さん。どうぞ英語で答えてください。大丈夫ですか？英語で That looks like a compliment. Thank you so much. You're so nice. I appreciate it though, really, because there is a bit of a personality change, right? When you switch languages. And if you catch it, well, hey, I'm not the best. I'm just like, here to help, right? Because I want you guys to speak English and be honest, right? One of the craziest things that I swear to God is happening is that you guys are getting deceived by other teachers. And that's why I'm making this video, because it's like they're not teaching you the truth. And so I kind of want to make a video that kind of explains why you guys aren't getting taught the truth. And the truth sounds like this. All right. And I could be a dick. I think that you saw the video where I talked to all the foreigners, right? Random な外国人にね。I was pretty 嫌な人だったよね。Because it's like, guys, hello. Hey, you were born in America, right? You were born in Australia, right? How come you don't know how many sounds the letter A makes? Like, think about it. I really want you to think about it. And they don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. That's the whole point. Nobody even understands that there's a problem. So when I tell you this is the problem, nobody even understands that this is the problem. They're like, why are you talking about this A, man? Like, you always bringing up this A, like this A has some sort of like magical properties. Like, what do you mean A has multiple meanings? Like a symbol should just mean one thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, why does the letter A have multiple meanings? It's like nobody even thinks about this. I like myself better when I'm talking in English. Though my English is not as fluent as my Japanese, that's okay. Just talk and like yourself. It doesn't matter. 俺だってさ、日本語で話した方が面白いと思うんですけれどもね、俺の性格が出るって感じ違うか。まあ、英語で話すと俺結構シンプルな人間だと思うんだよね。Hey, can I get a cheeseburger? Thanks, dude. Woo! 普通に喋ってるんですけれども、まあ日本語で話しても、なんだろうね、俺は俺って感じなんか、もう遊ぼうかって感じですね。教室の中でレッスンするんだったら、まあ、ゲームやろうかみたいなね。だって、教室の中で勉強してたら、まあ、勉強になんない。ね。現実行きましょうって感じですね。まあ、結構、I appreciate your comment. Basically, one of the best policies that you can have is this game because we're looking for the switch, right? There's this mental switch of like, how do you switch into English, right? And so the mental switch is somewhere inside your brain, and you just got to click it. And you click it by just starting to speak English right now. So anything that you're feeling, any frustrations that you're feeling, any questions that you have, even if you want to say, Kai Senpai, you are a dick when you speak Japanese. And I mean, yeah, thanks for watching the show because I'm putting on a character in a sense to really stimulate everybody's thinking and everybody's thoughts because what you're doing right now, the things that you're watching right now, aren't going to be teaching you anything that have any relevance in a functional reality where you're engaged in it. 大丈夫今言ってることを。ね。で、I think I'm getting hungry. It's been an hour and a half of talking. Nobody wants to hop live onto this, which is fine. I don't care. We're having somewhat of a conversation because I can read your text, but this isn't conversation. This is the internet, right? And so if you guys really want to have a conversation with somebody face to face, you got to like get out there and talk to. I talked to somebody at Starbucks, and this is interesting because I was like editing at my Starbucks in Kyoto, and I saw like two foreigners and a Japanese person having a conversation. So I walked over and I said, "Hey guys, I'm making a YouTube video. Do you mind if you could watch the 10 seconds and just let me know what you think?" And they're like, "Oh my God, you're a YouTuber. This is amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, well, like, hey, Kaizen by this." And he's like, "Well, this guy's a YouTuber too." And I looked over, it's the Japanese guy was a YouTuber too. So I was like, "Oh, hey, man, like, well, respect, right?" Oh boy, this guy was so weird. I was like, dude, what's your hashtag? What's your target audience? Right? He was just like, he couldn't speak English. Like he was like shaking. I was like, it's okay, calm down. Like you can do this. Like we can do this. Like just asking a simple question. But he was like, Japan. I was like, okay, cool. Like, okay. I see that you're a little nervous. I get it. I got it. My rhymes are good. Okay, so anyway, hey, Kai-senpai, Chinatsu-san, arigatou ne. How you doing? Thanks for joining. We're having a long conversation right now on how to become bilingual, and we're looking for the switch in our head because a lot of people still comment in Japanese, which is fine. I'm not gonna hark on you guys for like, oh, you gotta speak English. No. I mean, I want to communicate with you guys, but I'm just simply trying to get us to slide it on over into English. You know what I mean? Because when we speak English, it sounds like this. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like Japanese because if I speak like a Japanese person speaking English, you guys would think, "Oh, why are you talking like a Japanese person?" I'm like, "Well, because I've heard it and I can do it, but like, why would I want to talk like that? You know what I mean? Because it just sounds cruel. Because I mean, I swear I've heard things in my life, and some of them sound better than others. That's all I got to say. I wanted to have a conversation with you, but I hesitate to show the whole world here. Well, Keiko-san, that's okay. Because honestly, the my phone is gonna it's gonna run out of battery. It's at 4% right now, and I think that's a good time to cut this. Maybe I can how do you say plug in my phone, recharge it. I can take a break because I've been doing this for like 90 minutes now. And maybe we can reconvene in the future. I also wanted to think about my next video. That's what the headline is. 一番好きな英会話 YouTuber 誰ですか? But nobody's given me an answer yet. Everybody just wants to talk, which is fine. This is why I'm here to talk. But I kind of did want to ask, like, what's your favorite YouTuber? So anyway, don't hit that link yet because we're about to run out of time, guys. And the 20 people that are showing up for the live stream right now, I appreciate it. Maybe I'm gonna hop back on in just a few minutes because I do probably need to take a break. And maybe I just hopped onto the live stream too early because in the middle of the day, who's watching the live stream, right? But maybe more of you guys are on the train right now. You're like, oh man, I'm on the train. The train sucks. I don't want to ride a train no more. I want to go to America or something like that. I want to ride a horse, right? Because if you ride a horse out in the mountains, you like living life. And I want to live life out there in the horses with cows and all that kind of stuff. Now, if you guys really want to get English down into your soul, you got to get out there and play a little more. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm just trying to give you guys the real deal because the real deal is out there, not here. But in here, this little box, it is the realest possible expression of English I can possibly think. But how are you guys going to know unless you talk to other people in reality? So, again, your teacher is like talking real slow. So, like, if you want to talk like a teacher, then all you got to do is like talk like a teacher, but teachers talk like this. And so, like, talking like a teacher makes you sound kind of like weird because nobody talks like a teacher in reality. So, please don't talk like me. Please don't talk like me at all. Please ignore what I'm saying right now because it's not real. It's not real at all. I'm just making up a voice that sounds stupid because in reality, it sounds stupid. When people talk normal, this is what it sounds like. And if it's not normal, people go like, why are you putting on a voice there? You kind of sound funny when you talk. Why are you talking like a YouTuber? Hey guys, in this video, I will be explaining how you can talk more like an American. Put your thumbs up, smash that like button, and let's get started. That's not English, guys. I'm sorry. That's a show. It's fake. It's not reality. Nobody talks like that. So, Jay Sato says, how long have you been living in Japan? And what makes you live in America? What part of Japan you live in just so long? So I lived in Tokyo for about 10 years, and I lived in Maizuru in Kansai for about 10 months. So I learned my Japanese over in Kansai, but then I moved over to Tokyo, and I started learning that Tokyo dialect as well, because they talk differently in Tokyo, that's for sure. But I learned it, and it did all right, and I did all right, and it was fun. But, learning a language is kind of fun once you start paying attention to the accent. Chigaoka. My phone is going to die, guys, so I appreciate you guys' time. I'm going to bail out right now, and maybe I'm going to come on later. Maybe you guys can leave a comment if you want to see like what your favorite YouTuber is, and I'll come back online sometime in the future. In the meantime, I'm going to take my break, and maybe I'm going to think about that video that I'm going to make. And that video that I'm going to make is about the other YouTubers and the funny English that they're making. Because again, I come full circle on all of this, but you guys are getting deceived. You're getting convoluted. So anyway, I hope that you guys learned something. I hope that you guys go out into reality and use something that I said today. I hope that you put down the phone. And I hope that you practice speaking sincerely from the bottom of your heart to somebody else. Now, you can talk to yourself if you want. There's no problem with that. I'm thankful that I talk in English to myself all the time. I'm always thinking in English. But I hope the same for you. I hope that you as well can talk in English just like I do right now. All right, guys, take it easy. Peace out. See you soon. Hang loose. And I will talk with you guys later. Have a good one. And thank you, all of you, for participating. I appreciate it. She must have came a little late, but that's okay. Keiko, thank you so much for trying. And then, Desata, I appreciate your perspective because, like I said, we focus on Japanese people living in Japan, but creating in America, interesting perspective. Thank you so much. And then, thank you for the love and the support. I really appreciate it. And most important of all, CK, thank you so much for your kind comments. I appreciate your love. Guys, take it easy. Have a good one and good night. Bye bye.